Let's Get High and Read the Bible is brought to you by Magic Medicine Marijuana.
Fucking got it. Got it. God is not happy with us, Leif. It's like, he's like, no, I know what 101 means. You guys are going to turn a new leaf and turn those guns on me, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah, it does seem to be there's a force outside of our
Kitty.
control.
You're a kitty.
And I'm so sorry. I'm so fucking sick.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm sick, but it's all right up here.
Yeah. It's what's needed. What we need right now. Dude, I like this. Where'd you get this white hat? Is this a Rome thing?
It's my. Well, hilariously, I couldn't wear it in Italy because I felt like I was culturally appropriating.
Totally right here.
And now I get home, I'm like, I can wear that, but like I couldn't wear. I bought it in. Well, here's the. We went to. What is it? It's a Borsellino.
Oh, sick.
Okay, and we got there, and I think I was telling you it was 117,000 degrees, the week we were there, and we went out looking for these pens for my sister-in-law, and we were looking for this hat shop, and it's like right around the Spanish Steps somewhere, but the Spanish Steps are like a block worth of steps going up.
Damn.
And we were literally dodging, running from shade to shade. It was like, when you're in direct sunlight, and there were alarms going off in the square of the Spanish Steps. There were alarms, beep beep beep, like someone fucking snoozing, like or like the smoke alarm was going off, and we surmised they were just warnings to let people know, don't fucking stand out here, you'll die. Like literally,
it was that hot.
It was the hottest day ever recorded in Rome.
Do you think global warming's real?
Well, my wife is just broken right now by it. Like, just what are we? And we had this big long talk about the same thing you and I do about like how she's like, how do we get right? How do we? And I'm like, yeah, it's too late. It's like there's too many fucked up people making too much money off of the path we're on. I was just listening to Joe Rogan while we were waiting, and the thing about the Ukraine war, where it was already spent like $1 trillion, and the smart people during the Iraq war who were like, why are we going? Why would we spend all this money there? We're gonna get stuck there. The money would be better spent at home. Those people are all like, we need to be in Russia now. We need to be in, like.
Fuck all those people.
They're just making money. It's like.
Yeah, fuck all those people.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were walking around in Rome in 104-degree weather, and we finally find the shop, and I'm like, just in a daze. So happy to be there, but like I find this one. I didn't really look at any other ones. I saw one like this, but I wanted a colorful stripe, and the woman and my wife are like, "Well, this one's blue." I'm like, "Blue's cool," and I'm looking at him like, "Oh, blue? It looks black to me." "Oh, it's blue." I'm like, "Okay, all right, that's great. Okay, let's see if I can get the guy out of here. We'll find some fucking AC somewhere." And it's black, and it turns out it's exactly like the one my brother-in-law has. I'm pretty sure, like exactly the same hat, which is kind of funny. Yeah.
Did you return it then or something for the white one?
This is it. This is the one I bought. I like it. It's just funny that I bought the exact same hat. I went to Rome. I went to where they make them, and I bought the exact same hat my brother-in-law has. Apparently, I could have bought it somewhere around here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny that, we go from global warming to hats, but with the ocean.
We started, in my defense, we started with hats. And we sort of sandwiched global warming in there.
Yeah, I was more trying to make it funny. I just didn't get to the punchline quick enough.
Sorry.
I wasn't the Dayquil hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta snort that stuff or shoot it into your eyeball or something.
Yeah, it's been a rough go. Go. I think it's just parenting, to be honest.
Dude.
It's just
so we we were gone. At one point, my wife's like, it's interesting. We haven't really argued much, and we've spent 570 hours together straight. And we felt really good about that. And we were home with the family and the house sitter for about 10 minutes. And we looked at each other and we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? On the glass half full side, someone's going off to uni. Parenting
And
is
people might
fucking hard.
It's hard. Yeah, people might be judging us right now, but like,
oh, you know what?
yeah,
No,
you can't.
not parents.
I don't give
not
a fuck.
parents.
Not
Parents aren't
parents.
judging us. No.
But not my kids. My kids and I have a great relationship. We love each other. We goof off,
Oh,
fuck
God.
off. We've been having a blast.
Yeah,
It's
no,
just
I love my kid. There's no one I love more.
yeah.
Parenting is fucking hard.
It's hard.
And if you don't concur, it's because you're a fucking moron that doesn't have kids.
You're a shitty parent, probably. Too.
or you're a rich shitty parent, or you're a deadbeat dad, or a non-existent mom, or whatever.
Yeah. You're not putting in the work up front. You have to do it later.
No.
Goddamn.
Yeah. Shaping someone is hard.
It is. I wonder if God feels that way about us.
God doesn't care about us.
Well, okay, so the phone's definitely, we all know everyone's listening to us constantly, right? And even every conversation, every time we talk, every ad I have for the next week is about something that you and I were just talking about here. I guess my
You can turn it off.
That's what they make you think that. I don't think, I mean,
You don't think it works? It's less acute.
well, it does
if you
for
turn it off.
marketing. Yeah, it does
my
for
God.
marketing, but they're still listening. You know?
Dude, yesterday, me and a friend, I was talking to a friend about another person, and having a kind of an in-depth conversation about that person. And it was more like a business thing.
Okay. Yeah.
We were like talking about like, we need this service, whatever. And we were talking about it for a while. And then she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, what? She's like, I just opened up my phone and the person we're talking about is Facebook. Like when I open up Facebook, that person is first. And I open up mine and he's first on mine also.
Fuck off.
And I scroll like 2 down and the person I'm talking to's feed is there. I'm just
Fuck
like,
off.
man, could you guys be a little smoother about it?
Just
please?
a little smoother.
Just
It's all
like,
those.
just
Yeah,
pull back.
Zuckerberg, can you act just like, I know you have the smallest dick of all time, but can we just act like you don't for 5 seconds? Can you just be confident about something? Can something be built right instead of just fucking using all of us?
How about less jujitsu and more care for people?
I have this. I guess it should excite people, but this idea of them fighting has made me both. I want them both to just fall off the edge of the earth. Fucking Elon and fucking Zuckerberg. I hate them both now. I hate them both. They're not as much money as they have. They are possibly holding civilization back. I think all of the SpaceX is just fucking the government weaponizing space. Elon Musk is just a patsy for that. Yeah. And it's like, maybe they're good people. I don't know. We shouldn't get into this. I just hate them both now.
I was less than a mile from. We were took a boat tour out in front of from Praiano, out in front of Positano, and those DeCapri, the rocks that you always see in cologne ads. And Bezos's yacht was out there, and the helicopter was on board, which usually we'd seen the helicopter fly away and then come back. So it was like, usually that means he's on board because the helicopter would be somewhere else if he wasn't.
What a pathetic piece of shit that guy is.
Yeah. Pretty fancy boat though.
Oh yeah. He's got all the money.
What was crazy was like, we went around the corner through the little rocks and everything. And it opens up into this bay in front of Capri. And it's like, that, and there's just like infinite yachts, like so much fucking money right there.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that picture that the Hubble telescope took when it's like, what happens if we just point the Hubble telescope at a random dark patch of sky for a week, and it comes
just
back and it's
galaxies.
just full of galaxies. It was exactly like that. It's like, oh my God.
You're like, the whole world is burning because you fuckers are like profiting off of ripping the natural resources out of this place. Meanwhile, you're the only one with escape pods off of this place. So you're heating up, ruining, destroyed. And I get it. Like, I grew up Republican, so I'm not like a communist or anything. I just think our entire system is incentivized for psychopaths. The only way to get ahead right now in our economic system is for you to be a psychopath, to only care about yourself, to fuck over as many people as you can along the way. And like, it's breaking. It's breaking. Now they don't need humans for the jobs. Now everyone at Amazon, they don't need anyone. They don't need anyone.
Welcome to the new world.
Right. And so it's like,
and they were just like now with the AI, this other thing they were talking about on that Rogan thing I was listening to while I was waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
They're taking, extras, like, there's like the SAG and have to strike.
Yep.
The extras now, instead of having them wait around, they scan them digitally.
Yep.
And they make them sign away their likenesses
forever
in perpetuity.
Mm-hmm.
So they can just like staff crowds.
Yep.
It's like they don't even need people anymore.
Nope.
It's like, no, that doesn't. Don't give away your likeness.
I mean, they only need 3 seconds of you talking to be able to make you say anything. Have you seen the shit about them being able to read your brain waves and therefore tell what you're thinking and doing?
I don't think they can do it. It's something like you have to. They can. It's like from afar.
Yeah, with Wi-Fi. With fucking routers.
Well, what is the thing about where like they're going to do it for work so they can tell if you're optimum, if you're
spending all your time on working on the company, not working on your side business with your friend. And they show that,
or even just fantasizing about your new, buff coworker,
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really sick, so I'm all like negative Nancy over here today, and
I don't like anything.
I
come on, Geoff, calm down.
I actually like capitalism. I actually like the idea of America. It's just like when the ocean outside of Florida is 101 degrees. when
the Vatican is 107.
Fucking LA's 120 sometimes.
No one's safe.
Like what? This isn't. Yeah, this has nothing to do with politics anymore.
Dude, Hawaii's on fire. A tropical island burns to the ground
all the way. And like I'm watching right. I was walking up from the beach a little earlier. I took the boys down so they wouldn't be too bored. And I'm watching like videos of people filming themselves in the ocean, escaping the island by literally wading into the ocean. And yeah, we're at this, and like all of our religions are failing us now too. Have failed us. Everyone now is doubling down. They're like, this is the end times. It's like, no, bitch, you guys didn't fucking believe in recycling. You guys thought you weren't failures. You thought you were temporarily embarrassed millionaires. And so you fucking pipered for everyone else to be able to build spaceships off the rock they're ruining. It's like, we're oh man, damn it. Now you got me going with this.
Didn't do anything, man.
No, with that one comment to Katie, like there is nothing we could do.
So sorry. You and I have talked about that, ad nauseum.
Yeah,
and it's just like,
right?
I just don't think there's any way back until. That's why when 2008 happened, I'm like, let it fucking fall. Let it fall. Let the banks fail. Let's start over. And she's like, you can't really do that. And it's
totally.
You can. You can, because when a meteor hits, it all starts over.
Or what if we just go put all of those bankers in jail right now? What if we let everyone out of jail that's in there for any drugs? I mean, look at okay. Do you know how much money it is for drugs, as in RX, as in prescriptions in this country, compared to everywhere else?
Yes.
Right? I mean, I knew you knew. That's why I asked.
Yes. Yes, Leif, I know. Yeah, no, I used to know.
Like,
no, I know. It's
like the whole thing is if this is a Christian nation, then Jesus Christ is a selfish, insecure, pathetic little bitch that is like Oh, well, see, this is too heavy negative because I don't believe that in Jesus. I just think his followers are here. The nation
Jesus,
that's following him. This is what we are more like than Jesus.
It's just, but everything you've said is true, and people want to get behind this book and make it into this shield of I'm righteous because I follow this book, and I do all these shitty things to the planet. You know, it's like that's why that's my biggest problem. You know, it's like we talked about it when I was there. It's just like the grandeur is certainly awesome and inspiring, but all of the negatives and all of the secrets and all the lies and all the posturing and all of the power grabbing, you know, that it just to me outweighs, you know, that's like I wanted to start this one with like, look, we've done 100 episodes of this, and I think it's time to start like, okay, we know what we don't like. What do we like?
do we like trying to be positive like, and I'm all negative?
If you
yeah. This is the one episode where I'm like totally down.
You're like I'm like Geoff, what's wrong? Are you okay, Geoff? No, but it's like, you know, so if you feel that there is a greater magic, you know, surrounding us than just, you know, black and white, but you can't find it in the organizations that are trumpeting their allegiance and their connection to it.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you want to feel good about your spirituality and your connection to the planet and the universe, and if you feel like there must be people like you that are disenfranchised with the organizations that are offering those services, we're not saying we can provide those things for you, but we're saying we feel the same way. And if you want to hang out with us, we'd love to have you. And maybe, you know what I mean? It's like, that's it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I do think it does start, I guess, that maybe we can turn my negative into a positive, because you have to be honest. Because you can't find truth unless you're actually telling the truth yourself, right? And my experience with organized religion is that they're really good at lying to themselves, lying to the congregation. And so maybe that's a positive, even though I'm being negative, is that our church is at least honest, and that we
to a fault, and we have a great sense of humor. And a lot of what we say is just supposed to be fucking funny.
Yeah, we might be feeling it, but
laughing is so important, and there's not a lot of laughing in most church organizations because it hurts to be on your knees. You know, it's like it's painful to have to bow down, and it's like if you're going to bow down, it should be in front of the magic that's inside you. You know?
Oh God. Thank God you showed up today, because I didn't.
Well, it's just these. It's like I'm gonna start crying. It's just like can't fucking help it. It's like, and it's really hot in here.
It's very hot.
I don't know. It's been and I still have jet lag.
Yeah,
and I'm still acclimating to the time. But I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying that I've been thinking about these things a lot because this is 101. So it's like, you know, I'm not saying we're going to all of a sudden stop talking shit about, you know, the baby rapers and the, you know, like the organized religion. Probably not. But maybe we could also talk about, maybe we could do a better job at trying to resonate with people who are looking, who just, you know, like we can't serve anybody, but you know, like anybody who wants to who feels special, but is like marginalized because organized religion wants to put something in between how special each of us are and the afterlife, is like, you know, we resonate with that.
Yeah. Well, we're desperately trying to find positivity in the craziest time to be alive ever. It's like,
and the craziest episode so far,
dude, the fucking it's like
upside down world going on here. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm so sick.
I love it.
I've been up with a fever all night, and I'm all like,
I'm not entirely sure you're not manipulating me. You're trying to do. You're doing the what's that called? Reverse psychology, where you're like, fucking everything sucks. I'm like, well, hey, Jesus might have been a good dude. Just like total long conning me. Your parenting skills are fucking sharp today, Leif.
Dude, that's the problem. That's the problem.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because it is like, I don't know how we. I mean, I will say I have found a lot of positivity talking to you for 101 episodes. Like I have. Sometimes before we started doing this shit, I want Christians. Sometimes I'll be like, maybe we should just kill them all. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you hear about you bump into the extremes of belief, and it's like, do we have a path back? But I do think we do, and I don't think I should let myself get so down. I do think there's a lot. I might even take that kill 'em all thing out, huh? Yeah. But I think we have. I don't know where the positivity lies, because, like you said, the divine's been robbed from us all, and maybe we're all just so traumatized, like don't hit me again, Dad. With organized religion.
Yeah, the whole thing about living in a skin suit that doesn't fit you. It's like, well, how can I not be this person I feel like? How can I need to go into some building with some organization to ensure that I am the magic person or the special energy that I feel like I am? Why does somebody else have to confirm that for me? Why do I have to go somewhere to confirm that? Why can't I just go watch the sunset and close my eyes and know? Is that okay? It's like,
amen. Damn, dog.
I think that's our biggest hurdle, yours and mine, in this thing. That's what we constantly bump up against, is like this book.
Optimism?
It's like no. Just the organized, systematic separation of humans and their natural, energy and spirit and soul. It's like they're trying to take that away from you and say you can only have that if you come in here in my building and put ducats in my bucket and say these words over and over again. It's like otherwise you're going to go. Otherwise, that thing that you feel like you have, if not only don't you have it, it'll be taken from you, and you're going to have to live in a very dark place forever. It's like, who the fuck? Wait, what? Who? What? What? That's the deal. That's what people. That's why religion is diminishing, not because they're horrible people, because they're like, people know. I mean, like, get the internet now. You can see that maybe we didn't go to the moon. Maybe
I think we went to the moon.
I'm not saying we didn't. I'm just saying, it's like, maybe the Earth's flat. That one's a little silly. It's a little silly. But it's like, you have the internet and you can prove almost anything. And the part where people want to, like, somebody wants to tell you you're not made up of stardust.
Oh, Jesus, right.
It's like, well, you should probably go fuck yourself. And I should, and they should burn down the rules that say these organizations are exempt from contributing to the system of society, as opposed to like whatever they feel like doing.
Exactly.
It's like, it's just another business.
Yes.
And their business is like
good.
Fleecing you of your soul.
Yeah. It's a good business too. And it's strange too that it seems to always lead to that consolidation of power. It always leads to the evil side. Once a bunch of people start coming together, organizing as a church or as a the dude at the top is always just going to start taking everything for himself. That's why we haven't started a church yet.
Well, that's another thing. So my wife and I had this conversation the other day, yesterday, or whatever it was, and she's like, I was like, where should we, building, what? And she's like, first of all, you guys are morons. I'm like, I know. But she's like, no, you need to first figure out what your mission, what do you want to do? What do you, why, and for who? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? What is it that you can, why should people congregate? Why should you have a congregation? And I mean that the literal word, like, why is there something communally beneficial that you can make available, or I don't know what those words are.
Well, we went from like zero list. China has started to become one of our biggest markets.
Did it really?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's problematic.
That's literally out of nowhere. Like we've had for the entire podcast, we've had no listeners, and now, we have a bunch there, and it's so parts of Europe, specifically Germany, Portugal, South Africa, Ireland, England. We're having all these random listeners pop up, and it's like maybe even just talking about it. Just people knowing that two morons who mean well can get together and at least talk through all this shit. Maybe that's what people need. It's like, just the brass tacks logistics. Like you said, maybe they just need to be reminded of their divinity. Maybe that's the only mission we have. So if we're doing
that's the word I've been looking for this whole time, is divinity. Yeah. We're divine. Yeah. We're all fucking, like, it's fucking magic. It's fucking magic. Like, you call it science if you want, but like, something's not there, and then there's a life there. It's like, I know that it gestates, and apparently there's some big debate over exactly when the on-off switch happens, but it goes from off to on at some point.
Yeah.
And that's like, and it's not just like a little acorn can grow into a tree, an apple can grow into a tree and bear fruit and like be, but we got fucking brains and we have thumbs, and we can walk around, and we can build, we can manifest things just by thinking about them. Fucking crazy, man. You telling me that's not magic?
Yeah. And I agree. And it's weird that the spirit of all that is just being crushed lately, right? Socially, politically, economically, for sure. Yeah. I kind of do like the free market when it comes to economics. Ideas mostly is what I'm talking about. Like, it's great. We should all be able to just say what we think. Fucking the best ideas rise to the top, right? But
yeah.
I just don't. It's like we need an adult, and there is no such thing. It's like we need a competent, measured leader, and there is no such thing. It's like we need people who are incentivized to help other people and do good, and not just pad their own pockets. And
it'd be nice if there were like boundaries that like we agreed on. Like, I don't know if that's communism, but like the part where the church can make up the rules as it goes along. You know what I mean? Like, there's no say other than they don't want to. At this point, they don't want to, lose more followers. But
right.
But when this book was written, or when it was, when it was really being pimped, like, they could make up the rules as they went along. They could do whatever they wanted, and they were what is it when you have no you have no opposition, unrivaled or unchallenged as far as like and now it'd be like, I don't know.
No, I think it's good. Yeah, okay, let's step back from this because I appreciate because I'm sitting here talking about beginning of the podcast. I'm just talking about shit about people I don't even know. It's a little bit. I'm just going to point that out. At least for me, it's a little wrong. Yeah, yeah. And so I agree.
And honestly, it's kind of my job.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You can say a mean comment while holding a cocktail, and I throw the cocktail at the person. It's not really. It's not like I'm not allowed to speak in public.
Right.
You're earning that reverend.
Yeah.
Title.
How is that? How's your butt?
Oh, not good. Why do you need to? Do you need a break?
I need a break for a second. Mine's percolating. So
go ahead. Go do it. We'll come back.
Right back. Okay. Right.
I'm looking up positive Jesus verses. I found some positive shit maybe, but before I already have that up, and I don't think it's going to work with what we're talking about today. So I looked up some verses maybe we can riff on. Unless you want, because it's like Jesus calling the disciples and healing people. It's like shit we've kind of already read. It's funny though, because we can go back to it because I found it took 45 minutes of me getting everything together this morning while I was up shitting and trying not to throw up, for this. But you brought up a really good point that we just slightly passed over. Oh, yeah. So, we kind of talked about earlier the mass exodus of the church, which is something we're kind of going through. There's obviously there's tons of factors going into this. I'm assuming the biggest one is just knowledge. Just the fact that you can look up a Greek translation or a Latin translation of an old verse, that you can find scholars, that we have more data on all of this shit, the Bible, antiquity.
You think it's that more than it is the Catholic Church going through decades and decades and generations of sexual abuse scandals and and having it come out that it's actually systemic and they're entirely aware of it and they move these horrible people from place to place and prey on people of color in I don't think it's their dogma necessarily that
it could be my fundamentalist lens because that was all my belief was hinged on that shit. So maybe I'm just seeing it through my.
I don't get the feeling that people are when you're talking about religion. I don't think it's that they're when you're talking about an exodus from the church, from organized religion. I don't think it's because they're saying that they're doing research into the words.
It's just me.
You know what I mean?
It's just me.
I think it's the actions of the organization. It's like Kmart went out of business because they didn't keep up. Sears, who everybody thought was Sears and department stores. They're they go out of business because they're not moving because their business model failed to modernize. And it's and the church that's what I mean. It's just a business. It's a business. It's a money-making organization. And they're not, first of all, and they've had horrible business practices for centuries, for literally for centuries. And they don't get in front of, Bill Clinton was as successful as he was because every time he fucked up, he's I fucked up. I let that girl suck my dick. You know what? And I'd probably do it again. I bet you would too. But I am sorry. And you know what? Most importantly, Hillary's sorry.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's they don't ever apologize. They're just they pay the money and I think it's more that
the systemic evil that's coming out through their actions.
How godly, how close to God can they be? If you think about the horrible things the church did, the witch hunts, the Reformation, all of those things. How close to God can these people be if those things are still going on in a modern way? Damn. Is it that you got to break some eggs to make an omelet? Because they're fucking a lot of eggs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even if that is the case, whatever the reason people are moving away from the church, because it's happening, it's causing radical. No, what are you talking about? That was. No, I didn't even say that's fucking rad. That's fucking the shit.
That's radical.
There's like 5
Fucking
clips in
eggs,
there,
man.
dog. What are you talking about? But the fucking. But now, well, okay, it's incentivized for fanatics is what I'm getting at. Because now all the people have is their dogma. And these small sects, these smaller churches, these smaller congregations that are radicalized, that do think homosexuals should be killed, that do think that like people who commit adultery should be put in jail, that do think.
How is it that there are people whose only avenue for expression is to put down other people, put down a very anybody first of all, but like,
well, I spent the whole front of the podcast putting people down, so like,
yeah, but I'm talking about like religious fanatics who are like, like you're saying, like the Southern Baptist or whoever, or the what's the Westboro, where it's like, they just like, how do you get to a place where, what, my whole life needs to be spent telling people homosexuality is an abomination? Like, that's what resonates with you? That's what makes you feel whole?
They read those verses in the Bible that do state this stuff, and they think that no one's living it because they're not as godly or Christian or Christ-centered as they could be or should be. So they're like, we're going to take up that mantle. We're going to say you died of AIDS because God gave it to you. We're going to go to that soldier's funeral, put up the signs,
Yeah, I get it. I'm like, but those people have brains, right?
Those people are all lawyers. The Westboro Baptist Church, every member, the whole family, they're smart as fuck and they're rich.
Well, that's the other thing is they all, like, if you've heard about them, they got money.
They got fuckloads of money. Yeah, they're all lawyers.
Oh, I totally, I found the righteous gemstones.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, this is that thing. I always thought,
Keith was talking about it.
Was that Keith?
Yeah.
I always thought that I always get Danny McBride confused with the bad boy kid from That 70s Show.
Oh, the guy that's in jail now.
He's in jail.
Yeah.
What did he do? Did he touch people's no place?
Yeah, he likes underage girls, I think.
Fucking dumb. What? Really?
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's yes, it's come out, yeah.
Fuck that guy. Yeah, I'm like, well, that'd be interesting if that guy was in a show from jail.
Yeah. Bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Okay.
Bummer human.
Yeah, let's just you might want to
we want to keep like we're trying to make it funny, and then
you can't make underage. Well, what's hilarious? You know what is funny? All of the yacht rock is date rape and underage chicks.
How about the 60s and 70s? What about that Ringo Starr song that's like, you're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine.
16. Dude, you know what? She gets around, but she's young and clean.
Dude, I'm waiting for like 100 of them to go down from this. There's so many.
There's the Christine 16. There's the Ringo. There's also an it's just like all sorts of.
Dude, the Scorpions. Do you remember the album Virgin Killer?
Was that after Blackout and Love Drive and all that, or was it before?
I don't remember. All I remember is that the cover of the vinyl is the worst thing I've ever seen.
Is it in the back seat with the long hand reaching?
No, it's just it's like a 12-year-old. It's like a 12-year-old girl without a shirt on.
Oh, God. And it's called Virgin Killer.
Like,
they didn't have a giant command on the English language before Blackout to begin with, so you got to give them a little bit of leeway. And they're like,
pedophile. I don't think you need much command to say pedo.
Well, they're like, hey, look how much Kiss did with Christine 16. If we go a little younger, it'll be even cooler.
Dude, it just Yeah, we might have to selectively.
Well, and
edit
what
some
about what about? I don't even want to. I mean, Lori Maddox.
I don't know who Lori Maddox is. Who's Lori Maddox? I don't even know that name.
I don't, you know. Well,
I don't know if I want to Google it either. I don't know.
why don't you just Google it by yourself, and we'll just leave Sir Jimmy Page alone.
Oh yeah, that was her name. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, it's every single one of them.
Ted Nugent.
Oh yeah, didn't he become the legal guardian?
I thought that was Ted Nugent.
That was all of them.
They all got that. Sign her over to me, would you?
I'm pretty sure Robert. I mean, yeah, we're gonna edit out a lot of these names because we, but yeah, Robert Plant.
Not Robert Plant.
I think you did.
No.
Are you sure?
You know what? What I'd say is, unless you're certain, I know Ted Nugent did it, but if not, and like Robert Plant, don't.
Again,
I'm just like, I'm judging. Hey, dude, you know what? Robert Plant was a nice man.
I do.
He only had anal sex with women when they had fish in their pussies. I'm going to leave that up to you.
We're going to leave all of this in, and I'm just going to say that this is what Patreon will be more like, since that's almost ready to rock.
Right.
Yeah, we'll leave the unedited podcasts on the Patreon.
I like that.
Because, geez. But it's true. Okay, so we started out this podcast with me being so sick that I was being a little bit curt to individuals I don't know. And then we were talking about focusing our energy on the positive instead of the negative like we have been. I because of that, I looked up a verse.
Okay. Is that anything to do with the virgins?
No.
Did JC ever get with a virgin? Wouldn't that be a little twist?
There is something that's like, it is weird to me that JC hung around so many women, and there's hardly even a satirical writing about him being with women. There's no songs, there's no poetry, there's hardly like, even his critics, as close as we can get to Jesus in time wise, which is obviously still removed, right? There's not even a folklore about him fucking women. There's not much. There's barely any.
What about what's the Tom Hanks movie?
Yeah, that's all that's
folklore.
Beyond. Almost everything in the Da Vinci Code is taken completely out of context. It's not real. And you can look at
aliens
Mark.
Aren't real either. Yeah.
You can look at Mark Dan. Dan McClellan. He has a lot on that.
Yeah,
he debunks the fuck out of the. Yeah, it's fantastical and fun. It could be.
Yeah,
it could be. Yeah, it could be.
But Dan can only deal with what is written, and what is has he been through like every religious document he can get his hands on, like canonized, uncanonized?
He for the Mormon Church, he was I forgot the title, and I'm sorry, Dan, but he basically was in charge of studying ancient manuscripts of the Bible and consolidating them. Yeah.
So all of them, as many as he could get his hands on.
He has the most accurate handling of like correct pronunciations of words, and what seems to be like an adult and measured opinion on different writings through the years. Like, this one could be true, but we have one of them. This one could be true. We have 1,000 of them, but they burned all the, so it's just strange that I don't think Jesus was fucking, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
33-year-old virgin. I'm just going to go ahead and doubt it. I don't know the guy, but I know guys. I'm just saying. I don't care how.
You don't think Jesus was
Martin
endowed?
Luther King.
Oh, that's
whatever.
That's just because
my fault.
It's true. He was out there.
It's not my fault. The CIA kept a dossier on everyone. You know what I mean? It's like all these guys, Kennedy, like all these guys. And this is when there was a media. There wasn't even a media when he was around. You know what I mean? Like he could have been slanging. I was going to talk about it. He's the fucking son of God. You say something, he'll smite your shit. He'll wither that thing. You will never fuck again.
That's what I'm saying. He's like he's endowed with a heavenly purpose. He doesn't have time for fucking. He's here to do the will of God. There's no time. I don't got time for titties. Jesus.
I think that's a shirt trademark. Let's get Harry the Bible. I ain't got time for titties. Jesus. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you're right. If he knew exactly how it was all going to play out, and he knew he only had 33 years, he was fucking up at 4 and asleep at 12:30. You know, like
there's a story in the Bible that like right before he gets taken to be judged and crucified, they're hiding in this garden, him and the disciples, and he tells them to stay awake and pray because he's going to go off and pray by himself, and they all fall asleep. So he was praying for so long that they all keep falling asleep. It happens like 3 times. He keeps coming back. He's like, can you guys not just stay awake for me?
Dude, they're going to fucking pierce my skin, you bitches.
Me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I think that he's probably on that David Goggins tip. He's probably like out there running.
Yeah, and David Goggins has a few kids. Because he knows how, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yes, and David Goggins slinging that dick? Come on.
But don't you think, like...
Come on, he's procreating.
Okay, we know who the brother of Jesus was.
Uh-huh.
He's actually pretty famous, James the Just. You know, compared to Jesus in non-Christian writings, he shows up more earlier. So
why isn't there a gospel of James the Just?
Oh, man. It's so fucked. So this is really interesting. You're taking me off. But I'm going to finish that point and then I'll get to this. If we know about Jesus' family, I figured if a kid came down from that guy, that he would be worshipped by the followers. You know what I'm saying?
Or fucking skirted away because he was in danger of like being, you know, those guys wanted to run the church in his name. They don't need fucking, it's just like when a king dies and there's a son, that son is in fucking jeopardy because everybody who might be in line for the crown, you know, it's like,
I just feel like there would have been writings, there would have been like stories of them hiding him.
And I'm not saying the Da Vinci Code is factual by any stretch, but the thought process is sound, and it's the same thing. It always happens.
Thought process is pretty sound.
When there's a power vacuum, the church would want to obviously, not disallow, would want to
disassociate themselves,
erase any knowledge or knowledge of an offspring. Because it would also mean that he had a wife, right? So it's like he can't have it. Like you have this much of Mary Magdalene's fucking gospel,
truth,
and all it says is the disciples are like, "Oh my God, he loved you. He told you that you're the one," and like, "Oh nope," that's all you get.
Yep.
So, and you're the one that told me that it seemed like they were probably married, like they were a partner. They were partners.
She was very. It seems like she was the most important apostle, and maybe throughout history they tried to kind of erase that.
Right. So wouldn't they go even further to try to erase the idea of an offspring?
Possibly, or Jesus was just fully committed to his gig, man. Or he was. Okay. So you're saying that Mary was the most important apostle? Yeah. But
but he didn't, and so they probably spent all their time together.
Oh, but you know,
I mean,
here's some to your point. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene speaks of how much time they spent together in private. That he was teaching her in private. Yeah. So I mean, but I think that's teaching.
or whatever. You know, whatever. I mean, it goes both ways because they're fucking partners. I'm just saying. Isn't my wife is I am my wife's most important apostle, and she's mine, and we spend a lot of time alone together. You know, it's like if you're gonna take liberties with these words,
Obviously, I'm not trying to take liberties.
Well, but we all do, and that's what Dan says, is that like there is no power in these words. Yeah, it's like so, but I mean, it's a far shorter leap to go from, you know, Jesus and Mary Magdalene were partners because of this thing you said that, you know, like she was the most important one and they spent a lot of time alone, you know. It's a shorter leap than to say he actually levitated into heaven, yelling at them that he'd be back, you know, like, and another thing, I'll be right back, and we'll take over.
Yeah, but you know, see, like, his brother, James, spends his entire life in sackcloth, unmarried. And we know that for a fact.
Stinky sackcloth.
He didn't even own the sackcloth he wore. It was given to him by someone.
Did they want it back later?
No.
No, you hold on to that, James. Thanks. Yeah. Did you ever think maybe you'd wash that for us? No, I mean, and
see,
how long?
It's the poor are so important, and they're here. The disenfranchised are so important. I don't even have time to take care of myself. There's so many people that need help. I'm going to be spent. My life's going to be spent helping. His name was James the Just. That's what everyone called him. And he ran the Jerusalem Assembly of Christians. So think of him as the Pope of the first Christian church, of the earliest, of the disciples of Jesus Christ. He was the leader of their church after his brother passed. That's a heavy thing. And you brought this up. Why don't we have a bunch of writings from James? Well, there's one very tiny book in the Bible that can't be attributed to him, but it has his name. And so, like, we don't know who wrote it, but it's the only book we have that comes from James. But this thing I was getting into, and I need to fact check a little bit more, but there's this guy we know, the Apostle Paul, who has like 13 fucking books of the New Testament, right? And James and Paul hated each other. Paul has a theology that says you don't have to get circumcised or follow any Jewish laws to be a Christian. You don't have to. Abraham and the prophets are gone. Christ has come to abolish these. They're gone. We don't need sacrifice. We don't need the temple, you know. And James, it was like, that's the opposite. This is you're a heretic. So like they even come. There's a story of Paul pushing James down the steps of the temple in Jerusalem.
They get in a scuffle.
Paul has to go to Jerusalem because the apostles find out that he's preaching a different gospel of Christ. And he does, and he has to go through a ritualistic purity, or a purity ritual. He has to like give some hyssop and barley or whatever the requirements are and go bathe and do this thing. So the idea is that like the mother church, the Jerusalem assembly, is spanking him. Like, no, you're in fact, you're not an apostle, and you're so far off base that you need to be cleansed. So you're going to come, we're going to cleanse you, and then you can go preach the real truth about Jesus Christ. So it's weird that like the brother of Jesus, we know from the Bible and a little bit of history, hated the Apostle Paul, and the Apostle Paul makes up the Bible. Like without the Apostle Paul, there's no Christianity.
I believe this is the original "to the victor go the spoils."
Right, dog. So fascinating, because Jesus was very much a Jew, and Jesus was like didn't want to get rid of Abraham, to the law, what he calls the law and the prophets. You know, he thought that should be intact in a form. So I got to be careful how far we go in theology, though, because I watch myself bum you out, and just as a friend. You know,
I'm totally not bummed out.
I just want to make sure I'm not, because there's, you know, it is.
Sometimes I just got to let you go and not be like, you know, none of those words are fucking written by Paul or goddamn James the Just. But it's like, but even having that be, you know, all I was thinking was all of the shows that you see and all of the like reenactments where it's like, you know, even like the you know, the royal crowns, where it's like these people are supposed to have been ordained by God. You know, the original kings are kings because God, you know, ordained them. But then you get into it, and it's like, and like people are fighting for power, and popes are buying people off to, you know, be the pope, and it's like, that seems like, yeah. So Paul went and got his, spanking, but he was rich, and he was the one in, away from Jerusalem, where Jerusalem turned into the old world, and he, was populating his ideas,
Yeah.
and he won.
And his ideas won. But
Yeah.
it just doesn't. It's funny that he never met Jesus, and he wins. And there's a guy that met Jesus, not just met him, was fucking born in his family, and his ideas don't.
And that's like, and you can probably go down, if you could get microfiche on the whole thing. You could probably go down to the one day where it all went doink. And Paul, like, if giving that it's true, all, given that what Paul said, he said, what he wrote, even, and what James, given the stories that we have are mostly factual or inaccurate or whatever, if you could go back with microfiche, just like scroll through everything that happened, I bet you could find the day or the conversation where it went from, kind of like the council when they came out of the council in the 300 or 343.
Nicaea?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that was an obvious, okay, it went from this to this. I bet you could find the place where Paul went from getting spanked to being the main mouthpiece.
It's kind of in the Bible.
Message.
It's just we don't know if we can trust it, the story in the Bible, but
yeah,
because he's a Pharisee, which is like the
God please.
Fundamentalists. Yeah, exactly. So he's stoning Christians. So he starts out as a Pharisee that kills Christians, and then he has a vision of God. He sees Jesus in a vision, and he becomes a Christian and starts preaching the gospel. Or, he read the writing on the wall and the sacrificial system and the splendor of the temple, which is under Roman occupation, which has been conquered by Rome for a long time now. He realizes that they're not going to win, and Rome's going to fucking win. So how, we're not going to be able to sacrifice animals in the temple anymore. So, you don't have to do that. Jesus did it. We're done. We don't have to do that anymore. It's like...
No, I got it. I got to check it out.
Yeah.
We'll say that because we did it, because Jesus did it, he did it for all of us.
And that is Christian rhetoric. That is what churches and pews. That's what's preached from the pulpit. That he was the last sacrifice, the perfect sacrifice for once and for all, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. Which is pretty badass, actually.
It's okay.
Well,
it's the greatest marketing line. But I kind of like
okay, this is hilarious because the verse I pulled up to try to be positive is about this.
Okay. Nice. You backed right into it.
Yeah, I've been like,
all right,
so it's like, like for me, when we were like, let's stop thinking about all the bullshit and sort of like, what do I actually like? What do you actually like? What is actually good? Because like one thing I've always, why whenever you were home from tour, I would drive like an hour to go have coffee for $3 with you. Yeah. Is because you might have ideas that aren't the same as mine, and they might be better. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, okay. So with positivity, I picked this verse. You might have heard it. It's John 3:16. John 3:16 through 17. For God loved the world so much that he gave his one and only Son, so that everyone who believes in him will not perish, but have eternal life. God sent his Son into the world, not to judge the world, but to save the world through him. And like, I know that's dumb, and I know it's used. Yeah. You see it at sporting events. Everyone's got like the sign. You see.
Oh, is that John 3:16?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's badass. That's badass.
Okay.
Let's think about it. Okay, let's just expend, let's like Just go with it for a second, right? Let's say there is a God. I'm not saying there is. Let's say there is. And let's say him and this angel are warring over this real estate called Earth.
Which angel?
Lucifer is his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can we call them?
Angel.
Can we just call them both aliens? So they're beings we can't understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you're
not going to find any kickback for me on the alien.
And they live in space. They live in the heavens.
They seem to come back and forth from there. Sure.
Okay. Just want to
clarify.
Find our playing field here. Yeah.
We'll draw the parameters. Of this
so
box.
we have these two beings that are all knowing, we can't understand, and they come back and forth from the heaven and go.
So by sending, so the idea is this perfect being, Jesus, right? He comes down, and instead of just going like miracle, magic, fix, hey, fucking stop doing that. He lays down his entire life and just gives. Now again, we're you and me are a trapeze artist right now with the practice ropes on right now, like going through the air.
I thought you were going to say the tights. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the tights too, motherfucker. Yeah. I'm wearing like cut off jean shorts right now, and I know that.
Suspenders,
Anyway,
right. Sorry.
But like this perfect being, his mode of bringing peace to the world, of bringing wholeness to the world, is not through conquering like old kings. It's not through war like other kings. And again, God damn it. Sorry, I'm poking holes with other things Jesus says in my head. Let me finish this thought. He comes down and only gives and only loves and only gives, and essentially says that will bring peace and love and understanding to the world. That's kind of fucking interesting. Right?
I mean, if you can get all the way to this magical being, I mean, yeah, sure.
Right.
I just have a hard time getting there. I just have a hard time. Like, why does there have to be a sun? Like, if there's this guy, well, I mean, you didn't say about what about the Lucifer guy? Like, what, like, where's Lucifer's kid? Lucifer does all the work himself.
He would be,
but God has a minion of these. Maybe we shouldn't use those two words together, but
we can.
But like God has a litany of people who do his bidding.
Yeah.
Other beings, other magical beings.
They let the sun out of its stable every morning. They let the rain out of their stable. These angels that we met in Enoch.
Yeah, that doesn't bode well for our like, reality story. Like try to tie it to a ground floor here, like we don't really have an infrastructure for magical barns that hold the sun in the sky.
There's some holes in the angel theory for sure.
Yes, but if there's holes in the angel theory, then there's holes in it's all. I don't know. I think
we're suspending certain areas of our brain to be objective and walk through this path and give it respect.
Some of us are. Some of us can't, Leif. Some of us try really hard and fail miserably and fail grimacingly. Yeah. But we try.
Well,
some of us do try.
Okay, so then back to the idea. This, like, you don't like the idea of God of the universe who could just torch us all? Who okay, the Apostle Peter, who you just went and hung out in his hometown, you just went, not his hometown, but like
in his house,
the church built
at
upon
his gravesite.
And I kind of do back that with Catholics. I love the Apostle Peter because he sucks. In the stories, he's always messing up. That's why they call him Rocky. Jesus is like, that whole verse the Catholics take, it's a lot of scholars think it was like a mistranslation of a slang word for, like, Jesus just gave him a nickname, which is Rocky or hard-headed. You know what I'm saying? And when Jesus gets arrested, his accent, the Judean accent, the Galilean accent, gives him up. And everyone's like, you were with him. And he denies him a bunch, right? So he's just like, he's the most human of all of us. He's just constantly fucking up.
Right.
I guess I got distracted thinking that what I was saying was not as exciting as what's going on your phone.
Well, I'm looking for this picture of his fucking tomb.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to give space for, I thought something like that might be happening. His body's there?
Dude, can you read what that says?
Mm-mm. Oh, no.
It says, tomb to Poppy.
Poppy?
Tomb to Poppy. Puppy. Yeah, like, so let's see.
Like, Poppy?
Like, father. Like, the most fatherish father. So, like, I was, where's the video? Is it this one? Yeah, I'm totally stalking this guy. Why won't you go? I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff. I have
please do.
I was just like, I'm like, oh, you know me. I'm like, well, I don't necessarily have credentials, but I've had credentials, and I can walk around like I have credentials sometimes.
It's so like crazy what you can get into just doing
yeah. So like, you know, like, I mean, I didn't know they. Let's see here, like this room is like a side chapel, but they call that thing right. That's a Bernini, and it's like the holiest of holy altars. It's almost holier than the fucking the altar that dude like the Pope does the mass is at, right? Like people were in here sobbing, and I'm like, and then like above, right when you walk in, it's all these.
Oh wow!
And it stinks like fucking hash in there. You know, it's like,
oh yes,
yeah, baby, it's those things we're talking about. And so, you know, and you're not supposed to be taking pictures in that room. You know, you can't. I mean, like, you have to have
you can
some
sneak
pretty.
It, but
yeah, that was my biggest disappointment about not getting to go on the tour of the Vatican. Is we had a private tour where there was just us and one guy, and he was like, yeah, we're going to see the Sistine Chapel. You know, Italians, man, everybody fakes. Everybody like, you're not supposed to take any pictures there, but everyone does. I'm like, oh, thanks for the nod, dude, because I was going to anyway. Now I'll just be a little less sneaky. But I went to this, so I was like following these hallways, and then I saw these people go into this room, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I pop in there, and there's this black priest in a white robe with like 4 sisters, you know, 4 nuns.
This seems like a video I've seen on the internet.
Wow. I appreciate that actually. And he's like getting blessed, and he's like getting, you know, he's primping. He's like there's, you know, getting his game face on. He's just about, and then he goes out the door, and I'm like, where the fuck is this? So I follow him, videotaping it. And like I'm following, and he's going down this hall, and he goes into the main cathedral, and he goes around that little it's like one of these giant pillars. I'd already been there once because I was like, there was a guy standing over there, and they've got a camera. So like the camera angle, if they're broadcasting a mass from the basilica, that's where the camera is. Okay. And there was a guy standing at the base, and the chairs are roped off, so you can't. But there was a guy standing there with a Bible, reading his Bible, and right around, and it's like, and he was standing right next to the doorway that goes down into the tombs. And this priest comes out of the back, you know, and up through the thing, and around the corner in front of the camera, and goes down into the. So he was going to go bless the tombs before people. And like I was like, I tried to follow him in there. Nope, 9 a.m. So he had to go in there for like an hour and bless the place first. But I could, like, if I'd have waited around for an hour, I could have gone down and fucking seen the bones of St. Peter and all the popes. They're all fucking buried down there. Dude, I got this. I thought you would love this. If I can, it's not a video, so it shouldn't be. Oh, this. This is a list on the wall of
everyone
pope,
buried.
every pope.
Oh wow! Oh, wow.
And there's only one guy on this list that's still alive.
That's hilarious. Yeah, well, at least none of them can be tried for their crimes.
Yeah, right.
You showed me that list. I was like, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess people need pomp and circus. People need that huge shit. The big cathedrals.
I don't agree.
What now?
I don't agree.
You don't? Well, I mean,
No.
I'm not saying that our church.
The sheep need that. The sheep need to be wowed.
Yep.
Because they can't feel big unless they feel small. You know what I mean? They can't feel like they have to be made to feel small. So in order to appreciate the grandness of everything, I guess.
We might not be able to change any of that, though.
What do you mean?
That's been around. I mean, maybe that's why all this shit is sticking around forever.
Because there's so many people who need to be wowed
and humbled.
Well, there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people.
It's just like songs, not every song can be a hit. There's a lot of album tracks out there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have a cousin named Justin too, but
yeah, he's not here, Justin.
Oh, you got a tribal tattoo? How interesting. Well, how unique.
On the bicep, you say?
Well, maybe that's good. Maybe we're talking about this because it's wrong. Yeah, like maybe the Greeks. No. Maybe we don't need. Maybe individual empowerment maybe should be what we stand on with our church.
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
We have to talk about it a lot and just ping pong it forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't think we should be?
I just oh baby, ooh, it's a slippery slope because I feel a little bit like we need to have that sign that small businesses have that say we refuse the right to serve anyone we don't it's like, and that seems fucked. Like you obviously can't choose, or can you? I don't know. I just don't have the answers. I don't have any answers, and I don't appreciate people who pretend to or think they do. Yeah. And people get real energetic real quick when they think there's somebody listening.
Yeah.
It's like, no, just relax, Turbo.
Well, I don't know then. Maybe,
I don't know. We'll ping pong.
We're gonna, yeah, because it's like I love temples. I love that idea.
Respect.
It's kind of
respect everybody. That's the most important thing.
Wow. Okay. I did not respect certain individuals at the beginning of this podcast. I was calling out a bunch of rich fuckers.
That's different. That's sort of different. You can
say maybe I just have some sins on the inside of my heart.
Maybe. But the outside is purple gold. And that might be the ending spot right there.
I think that's pretty good, actually, huh? That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I'm going to have to work.
And gold.
I'm going to have to work. Purple and gold, baby. That's the
purple
fucking gold. Those are some royal colors.
Leif's got a heart of purple and gold because I fucking said so. Leif's got a heart of
there's a couple congregations. Said so. There's a couple congregations that disagree with you. There's a couple pastors that text me that don't agree with you.
Well, I hit up my buddy who knows the helicopter guy here in Washington. What's his name?
Casey Treat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, you need to fucking get this guy on our podcast. You need to make that happen. He's like, I'll try to get hold of him. So, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he would even...
Dude, you've been in prison. You've done time. Come on.
What was he in prison for?
I don't know. I can find out, though. He's the He's the American hero.
I don't. I have so much disdain for mega churches and mega pastor. That I like. I'm only going to admit that, like,
Yeah.
just like earlier, I might have some blind spots. It's the most anti-Christian thing. There's nothing, in my opinion, more against the teachings and messages of Christ than a mega church. There's like that stands in. We'll leave it here.
All I'm going to say is you may be right, but I bet if you had all that money, it would make you feel a little better about it. That's all.
Yeah, I don't have a hot tub. I don't have a sauna.
If you don't have a mega yacht, you don't have a mega anything.
Wiener, maybe.
Come on.
We should be selling that, I guess. So.
And scene. That was a good one, Leif. I really appreciate that.
Oh God, yeah. I
so
love you.
Purple and gold and mega wiener. Yeah. Let's just make sure we don't. Well, I guess your wiener could be purple and your mega wiener could be purple and gold too.
It's not purple. I'll just let people know.
Well, maybe after some. Dude, it's time to stop. Obviously, we
bumped into Patreon area. This is for hardcore
straight
fans
to Patreon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We really appreciate everybody.
We love
who listens.
everyone. Thank you very much, especially Beijing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Beijing.
Please don't be spies, Beijing. Thank you.
Okay.